It's a mean world out there. And it's a mean rage.
Let's change the culture. Let's change the way we think about this world. And let's have a hell of a time doing it. Welcome to Mean Age Daydream, a home for comedy, a home for some politics, and a daydream of a world that doesn't suck. I'm Brian McWilliams. Welcome to this mad world.
Ladies, gentlemen, gentlemen, shimsels, welcome to Mean Age Daydream. I am here fresh off the Reno Libertarian National Convention. If you didn't hear, it was an absolute rout. Just domination from back to front. Pretty much the Mises Caucus had every single person they wanted to get on the ballot and in positions of power come through, full slate. And Angela McArdle, big congrats to Angela. She won with something close to 70% of the vote, as did everyone behind her. The only contentious one was kind of Josh Smith, but interesting time. Thank you to everybody that came up and talked to me out there, and fans, new fans, old fans, paying fans, everybody. Awesome hanging out with all of you guys. You can tell my voice is a little scratchy still from talking and drinking and doing everything in that dry Reno air, but was an awesome, awesome time, guys. And top of the show, I want to tell you guys that, I hope there's more perspective given to the Lions of Liberty network after people there were talking, seeing me on the floor, right? I'm there for Mises Caucus. I'm a member of the Mises Caucus. Now, if you guys out there aren't, I know there might be some hard feelings, right? Because of the takeover language and the way in which some people can interact, but I tell you, I think this is all for the best. I think this is the way forward for the party. I think it's the way forward for the liberty movement. Not to say it's the only way forward, but I think if we're talking about party politics, we're talking about party messaging, trying to reach people and trying to do it on a grand scale, I'm hoping, I believe that the Mises Caucus has the way forward. So hopefully some of you out there are getting back on board with our show after getting your nipples in a twist, and you do decide to give a listen, to give a subscription, to give a subscribe, and also to, of course, join us on Patreon at patreon.com/Lions of Liberty or lionsofliberty.locals. Of course, I do my good morning fuckhead rants over there. I did one today, which you wouldn't believe, about a school district basically making it so black children do not have to come to school, do not have to behave in school, do not have to turn in assignments. I mean, just you shake your head. And of course, this is going to benefit the children somehow. This is going to benefit the kids that already have issues with coming to school, turning in assignments, and behaving. This is going to help them more by not having any sort of punishment attached to it, be that by punishment within the boundaries of what schools could do for discipline, nor their grades. So anyway, again, check that out, guys. Join the Patreon. And before we get into today's episode, which you're going to love, I had Reed Coverdale on, I had Clint from Liberty Lockdown on, and I had Toad from Tower Gang on to talk about what's going on, not just with the event and the LNC, what we experienced here. And as you'd imagine, it was a lot of autistic frustration. I'll tell you that. A lot of time wasting. Nick Sarwark got in some tussle with somebody and police were called. And I think his bodyguard got thrown. It's just ridiculous. But overall, it's still a great time. Had a lot of good fun conversations with Nick Gillespie at Reason and also a drunken conversation with Brian Doherty, which was fun. I'm going to have Nick back on. But before we get into the podcast, which is going to be a hell of a lot of fun, I'll give you a quick ad and a quick story about my air hockey battle with Robbie the Fire. So first things first, guys, we've got a sponsor on the show, which is an old sponsor back again, and that is IPVanish VPN. IPVanish, one of the most trusted, one of the best rated VPNs on the market, guys. You guys don't get travelers following you around the internet. Don't get hangers on like Marty McFly on the back of the truck or the back of the car, skateboarding behind you, collecting all your data, looking at all your goodies, getting all your passwords. With IPVanish, you can, with one click of a button, protect yourself from scammers, from hackers, from everything else. Of course, you can also hide your physical location, besides, and obfuscates, there we go, obfuscates your IP as a location. So there are benefits to that. I'm not going to go into them specifically, but you know what I mean. Now, The other good thing about IPVanish is that you can get 70% off by going to ipvanish.com/lions and using promo code LIONS. Again, you can get 70% off a year subscription. Basically, couple bucks a month. Super cheap pricing to get protection. Again, one touch of a button across all of your platforms, across all your systems, your phone, your computer, your tablet, etc. Get on in there, guys. Protect yourselves, protect your loved ones, and make yourself a little bit of a ghosty ghost on the internet. Again, ipvanish.com/lions. Use that promo code LIONS to get your big ass discount. Okay. Now, I'll tell you my little story here. So Robbie the Fire and I, we're hanging out. I went to the show. Some of you might have heard, if you listen to the live part of the Problem podcast, I asked a very pertinent and hilarious question. I'll let you go listen to that. I won't tell you what it is, but I will tell you that did not have any luck. Nobody came up to answer my call. But went to the live part of the Problem. That was a lot of fun. Got to connect with some great people there. Matt McKinley over at Burn and Daylight. Awesome guy. Great podcast, by the way. If you listen to Liberty, and a guy that's literally podcasting sometimes from the back of a horse. And his wife was telling me, I missed this episode, but there was one he was live podding from the horse, and the horse bucked him off. And he falls down on the podcast, hits the ground. So check that out, Burning Daylight. But yeah, Matt McKinley, saw him there. He hooked me up with a nice pass for the show. Of course, saw my buddy Craig, saw my buddy Derek there, saw Zach there. A lot of great people in the movement hanging out at that show, and got myself good and hammered up. And then the next day, I'm hungover, but Robbie, see him at the Mises Bash where Dave was speaking. Saw Ron Paul speak in person. That was awesome. Tom Woods was there. Still didn't ever meet Tom. It's so funny. Never met Tom in person. He's too short. Can't see him. But he was there. Maj Toure was there. Got to talk to Maj a bit. Zuby was there. Really, it's a murderer's row of speakers. But Robbie and I decided we got to go and get a grudge match on. Right? So we're drinking. We're going to play some air hockey at this table. I will say the first round I dominated 7-4, and then Robbie came on strong to come back from behind, beat me 2 games out of 3. But the pucks at this Nugget Casino in Reno were so light. We're 2 big, strong men wailing at this puck, and it kept going airborne on us, flying up, hitting us in the goddamn fingers. And I didn't realize how badly I'd hurt myself, but the next morning, I wake up and this is like 3 days now, my pinky joint is jacked. I don't know if I smashed it on the table. I don't know if the puck hit me right in the pinky joint, but it hurts. I'm worried I got a chipped bone in there. And Robbie, I wailed a shot on him that jumped up and instantly gave him this giant black and blue welt on the back of his knuckle. And I hope it hurts like a bitch. I hope it hurts him to the core. Anyway. That's it, fellows and ladies. I will ease us into the episode here, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you give you some perspective on, because I haven't talked about the issue that Mark raised, criticism of Mises. So this is us talking about that as well as the action on the ground in Reno. And I'll be back with some more general commentary on culture, liberty, comedy, and everything else that you love to hear me vocally bang into your ear holes. All right, guys. Adios. Oh, yeah, one more thing. It might be a little echoey, a little weird because we're using a room recorder that I was sitting directly behind, so my guests were more vocal, but whatever. Here you go. All right, we are here in the glorious Nugget Casino, a casino with low ceilings to match the low-hanging titties of the women that frequent the Nugget Casino. I am here on this Mean Age Daydream special edition coming from the Libertarian National Convention with my peoples here. Toad, of course, you know him from the Tower Gang podcast. We've got Clint from Liberty Lockdown and the Tower Gang podcast. We've got Reed from the Nationalist Capitalist and the Tower Gang podcast. Unfortunate theme here.
Yeah.
But gentlemen, we just sat through 2 days of inane idiocy, assholeness, petulance, and probably flatulence. What are your initial thoughts coming out of this grand event?
Well, I think that Jose has a really good point about agorism after this. That's my primary takeaway. No, I mean, I'm thrilled with the outcome. I am floored at how dysfunctional the Libertarian Party was and is.
Fucking unbelievable, man.
But
and so you say you're floored with the outcome. So I want to make sure. So people out there, they might know. So we are all in this room supporters of the Mises Caucus.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
obviously, those who listen to the Lions Liberty Network, they know that the show's got some split views. It's split two to one, but the split views on efforts, not specifically against the Mises Caucus, but let's say efforts in the Libertarian Party sphere.
Yeah.
But we are all supporters of Mises. All of us are voting delegates for Mises. And like you said, the outcome was,
A clean sweep.
a straight up ass stomping.
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, exactly.
in fact, I think from what I was told, Angela's win for chair was the largest percentage victory in the history of the Libertarian
Damn,
Party.
really?
That's what I was told.
For chair.
69%. Nice.
Hey, 69 and a half. That's a
That's true.
69 when somebody pees a little.
So I got to admit, yesterday I was not extremely enthusiastic. And
About
I was,
this podcast, I understand.
yeah, of course. I mean, that still remains the same. But I mean, just the
fair.
Libertarian Party in general, I was heavily leaning toward agorism being the good alternative. But today I've actually had a pretty good day. And I actually had fun. I thought today was entertaining. There were a couple moments that kind of dragged along. But for the most part, it was a good time.
Well, and a lot of it was thanks to the fact that I think one of us must have fucked Whitney the Chair last night and given her COVID
In
or
the
something.
ear?
Yeah, because now she's gone. Yeah, it was me with my really tiny micro penis.
The entire Mises Caucus needs to write her a get well card to be like, hey, sorry we almost removed you yesterday. Hope you get well soon. Signed the Mises Caucus.
Was she the lady that fainted yesterday?
No, I don't know who fainted yesterday.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying. It's one of those things where, somebody faints and they're on the floor and they're like, God, I really want to see what's going on with that whole thing, but I don't want to be a dick.
Well, Dave was doing that. Dave Smith was right there, standing right over it, just watching the whole thing.
Was he just mocking her straight to her face? Or, we say her because we're sexist.
Well, it's 'cause she was-
It was a woman.
She was
yeah.
12 shots in, so
Those
he
women
was
are weird.
standing over her after.
I was gonna go there too. I was like, Dave was just trying to make sure that she wasn't the one that he fed the 12 shots to.
You know what's really weird is that we had this woman fainting in the middle of the floor yesterday, or apparently fainting, losing balance, whatever was going on with her, some medical issue. A really similar thing happened to a woman on my flight from Denver to Reno.
So the common connector is
Wednesday.
that you're in two places drugging women.
Yes, that is exactly what I was going to say. I roofied them both, and I never got to fuck either of them because it was in a public place. And
By the way, Toad is cracking out the hard drinks right now. Just
Stop roofing
Yes,
women
thank
in
you.
public. What are you doing?
Yeah, you got to do that in private. That's the Bill Cosby
Yeah.
rule.
Yes, what I was going to say is that the common thread there is maybe that they were both vaccinated. And we're seeing more
like
and
the
more of
stand-up
this.
comedian chick. Remember that stand-up comedian chick that just fell over and conked her head?
it was hilarious. It was the best
It was-
stand-up, or I guess you wouldn't call that stand-up because she fell over, but it was the best thing.
It was a good punchline.
Yeah.
Can I talk briefly about the Mises Caucus bash last night?
For sure.
Okay, that was incredible. And
Oh,
as someone who now gets to speak to all of my heroes all the time on my show, to have that lineup, I have never.
But not me. Never been invited on the Liberty Lockdown. Definitely.
Whoa,
Really?
what? Really?
Never?
Never.
What the fuck? All right, my bad.
Even though your show was in his intro, he just never had you on.
I literally shout you out on every episode. How dare you?
Ages ago, Clint, I think you tweeted at me or messaged me on something, but then it was it just got lost in time.
Dude, my whole life has been pretty disjointed for the past year and a half because it's kind of been an explosion. But anyways, that entire event, that speaking lineup was so powerful.
Yes.
I don't know if
let's run it down. It was
Daniel McAdams,
McAdams.
Maj Toure,
Yeah.
Spike.
No,
not Spike.
Not
Zuby.
in that order. but
Zuby,
yes,
Scott
Zuby.
Horton,
Scott Horton.
Scott Horton was the MC, so he didn't actually give
Dave
a full
spoke as
speech.
well.
and then
Yeah,
Dave
Dave
Smith, and then Ron Paul.
And
Tom
the great,
Woods
the great Ron.
also.
Oh, and Tom Woods. Yeah,
And Tom Woods, excuse me.
And Angela McCardle.
That's
And
what the lineup it is. When you were and some, I don't know, Tim Words? Tim Words spoke.
Tim Words was there too. I have never been more pumped in my life about liberty, and that is weird because I am fucking pumped all the time. And just to have that lineup, what really stunned me is because I've only heard Ron give a speech once, and that was at Young Americans for Liberty. I wasn't anywhere near him. This was a much more intimate experience. And
You fucked him.
And I wish. And the primary takeaway was that Maj Toure is a goddamn legend. And I am his willingness to challenge everybody in that room was so powerful.
Yeah.
Because we're like there as kind of a celebratory thing, and he's like, stop clapping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I really felt like it took courage for him to say it, but you could just sense it's fucking completely real. It's completely from the heart, and he knows, he's like, half the people here are going to accept a bag and walk away from this fucking movement. And I was like,
100%.
yo,
100%, man. Yeah.
so powerful.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, right? He had said at one point, he's like, you know, the urban, you know, people in urban centers need to hear your message. You know, especially like, you know, black people, Hispanic people, and they do. And it's funny though, because it's like you look around. And I think at one point, didn't he say like, raise your hand if you're black?
Yeah, he's like, we got 4 guys. You know?
Yeah, it's like 2 people. So it's true.
One of them was Zuby.
Yeah, right.
Which we paid to get here.
But it's true. Like they need to hear the message, right? And it's so hard to break through. But at the same time, it was an awkward moment. And then you look around, and it's like almost like, and I hate this concept, but the white savior complex.
Yeah.
Where it's like I look around, I'm like, fuck, man. Do we all have white savior complex about libertarianism and how it's going to like change people's lives? Like, I believe it will. Yeah. But it made me think, even though he was asking for it, like women that wear slutty clothing. But even though he was asking for it, it still like gave me pause. I was like, fuck, man,
Hey,
I
man,
don't know.
well, the slaves were asking for it by wearing black skin, so.
Oh,
my God. Oh, my God.
You know, that makes me want to use your real name on this podcast. really put your dick in the fucking dirt, man. My name's on this podcast.
You can follow him at anarcho_toad and tell him how much of a piece of shit he is.
And he's the sober one.
I know.
That's horrible thing.
He's got no excuses for that reason.
God damn,
Speaking of black libertarians, the rock-headed idiot, whatever his name is,
Black Mutualist.
Black Mutualist, that guy. He talks mad shit on Twitter, and then you meet him in real life, and he's like super friendly and like, and it's because he's like,
that's to do with like the little the beads around.
Yeah, it's because he's like,
I didn't realize that was.
It's because he's like 4'7" and 100 pounds. It's like, oh, okay, I see why you talk mad shit.
I have a different experience with him. I got to give him credit. He came up and kind of fronted on me, not today, but when I was in Orlando.
Did you guys dance battle?
I wish.
See, I think
I would have
Rap battle?
there's a possibility that he's the guy that got my 20,000 follower account nuked.
Oh,
like, remember? How
Yeah.
So, you know.
What one of those that you tweeting at you with insults?
Yes.
See, it wasn't me tweeting at myself. It was some other guy pretending to be our offspring.
Yeah. But yeah, Reed threatened a parody account of myself and him, and and then someone used that as an opportunity to report Reed and got his account nuked, and it's fucked up.
That was fucking
I don't want to assume that it's him. I think it probably was, but I don't know. Anyways, he comes up to me and
he doesn't want to assume, but he's going to.
But I think it probably was. Anyways, he comes up to me at Yell Revolution. He's like, "Why'd you block me, man? Why'd you block me?" I was like, "Because of how you're talking to me right now. Like, that's why I blocked you." Obviously, like, why would I not? But anyways, point being, he wasn't friendly to me. So, I mean, he did say it with a smile, and he definitely wasn't like trying to fight. But he's a special guy. He's a special guy.
He's a special little critter.
So I'm from a weird party in Utah that had like none of this division. Like we were mostly Mises, and then the 3 or 4 other people just didn't care. But what was it like for each of you guys? Did you have any bitch fuck cucks in your caucus, or in your
state.
affiliate?
Dude, California's so huge. It's bitch fuck cucks. 33%, and then the rest of it. But it's still mostly Mises because Angela. I mean, she's running for chair, but she's also been our chick. She's the one that's run all this shit. They all know her. We know her. So it's easier for us to get through.
Right.
Right.
Florida had like 15% people that were Mises detractors, so not many.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any negative interactions with any of them. They were all very friendly. I honestly, like, it was the state behind me at the table. I didn't even look at which state it was, but they were always voting the opposite direction of what we were. So, like, I knew right away, like, okay, this state is enemy territory.
Yeah.
Texas, probably.
No, it wasn't Texas. It was a different state. But
Why is Texas anti-Mises?
The only thing I concluded with it was, I learned a lot about Texas because I gave my first live speech in Texas, and it was a great experience. But there is a ton of detractors in Texas.
It has something to do with, I don't know, like the inability to coordinate across that large a state, or with how the state is divided up. I don't know.
That doesn't make any fucking sense, though, right? And it shouldn't be about coordination. If it's the message, it's either okay. People in Texas don't like the message, right. And what do you like? Woke ass bullshit. You're fucking Texas. You're supposed to be one of the biggest, free rights. Get the fuck out of my face. No. We've got guns. Consistent messaging, motherfuckers, and you're gonna roll over like bitches and be like, oh.
What's interesting about the split in the Libertarian Party seems to almost be like the opposite of what the state is like, or like what you would think it would be. Like some of the heaviest like Mises delegations, as far as like how many of the Libertarian Party are Mises. You find like the largest percentage of Mises in like Connecticut, and now in my state in Massachusetts.
It's a reaction against the flagrant tyranny.
Yeah, and then you have like Texas is terrible. Mississippi is terrible,
but Florida's great. So it's not just on tyranny lines. It's kind of sporadic. I don't really know.
Yeah, it just seems like that. But yeah, in Massachusetts, which is where I am, we had a unique situation where we became like the third state where there was like an attempted takeover or illegal action taken by the regime wing of the party. Let's say, where after the attempted coup in New Hampshire, then a similar thing in Delaware. We had a similar thing happen where, I don't remember what this petition was for because I wasn't actually active in the party yet at that point, but 47 members who were Mises, or at least Mises friendly, all signed some sort of petition, and the regime...
Clint is checking his text messages because this story is going on too long.
Oh, sorry. The regime, like LPMA people decided...
He hasn't even started talking about his toilet and his two-way mirror.
Oh, I forgot to talk about our diarrhea stories at Reno.
So you need to talk about that. That's funny.
So they illegally kicked out 47 members. And then what happened was the membership that they had kicked out, we were more people than they had remaining. So we formed our own LP. And we basically, we had more numbers, we had higher numbers, more delegates, we had our own convention, and then like a week later, John texted me and was like, you guys are the recognized Libertarian Party in Massachusetts now. And some of the people in the other party just quit or moved to different states or became delegates of different states that allow out-of-state people, so we just became the...
Let me ask you that.
The LPMA, so we're all Mises, pretty much.
You hit somebody that here's what I don't get, right? These people, they're in the party, right? They've been in the party for years, and they're, okay, you know how parties work. Things change, people change. To leave, to pack up your shit and go home, right, is the most cowardly, pussy-ass move I can think of, right? Okay, you're going to fight for it, so instead of fighting for what you believe in, your answer is instead to just quit.
I understand that sentiment, but at the same time, as someone who witnessed the Libertarian Party fall apart over the past 15 years or decade or whatever it's been, and seeing all the
good.
What's that?
Good.
Yeah, no. But
gone.
No. I'm saying the opposite argument. I'm saying the Ron Paul revolution also left the Libertarian Party when the quote unquote loser brigade took over. So like it goes both ways. I think it's like this was just the inflection point where it got to be. The tyranny in this country was so egregious, and simultaneously the Libertarian Party was so bad that people like us all decided simultaneously and independently that we were going to get involved. So, like, I feel
Clint's making a great accelerationist argument, which I always make. I'm always glad when the tyranny reaches its maximum possible strength without like completely destroying everything, because then people suddenly start to care about stuff. Like, this is my argument for Joe Biden over Trump, because while Trump was president, he had so many people who were just like, oh yeah, he's locking up the pedophiles, he's draining the swamp, he's saving the economy, and it's just like, Jesus Christ,
whatever happened to Q?
You're like, none of that's happening actually.
And then you get this fucking, he's not even now he's 80 something and he's fucking retarded and he can't remember anything, and everyone's like, oh my god, what's going on? It's like the same shit that was happening in 2020, it's just a different president. So
I made the other argument that I didn't want Trump to preside over his shitty policies coming to roost with the inflation and the economic decline. So, like, even though I don't like Republicans, I would still rather a Democrat who espouses socialist policies preside over the downfall of our economy, so because it benefits me.
Well, it's interesting. So we're talking about like the accelerist notion, like, because I used to talk about this on the show, even in cancel culture. I was like, I'm rooting for cancel culture as hard as I can. I'll say it's shit, which it is, but I'm rooting for it because I want people that everyday Joe and Jane, fuckball care about to get canceled. I want their neighbors to be canceled.
Yes.
I want their moms to be canceled. So they go, fuck.
This is crazy.
This is crazy. Yeah, and that's what COVID was the greatest gift to us, right? And like coming out of this shit, we've got this movement coming in, it's like coherent messaging coming in, fucking laser focused, keeping shit accurate, and we're coming out and messaging, like Dave Smith, we were talking earlier tonight about this, how we're conveying this idea of like, this is a powerful movement that's taken over. It's going to make shit different. Yep. And people on the outside may actually take a look at the Libertarian Party and be like, you know what? It's time.
Yeah.
I mean, if not now, when are we going to have a better chance?
Yeah.
Never. Whenever.
I mean, I think the only other potential better chance was 2020, but that was kind of too early. All of us in this room were already radicalized by the lockdowns at that point. But I think 2 years from now, it'll really be like, okay, we all understand that the lockdowns were pointless. We all understand that the mass mandates were pointless. Like, just go down the list of insane, tyrannical policies that didn't help at all and actually destroyed civilization as we know it.
Yep.
And then, hopefully, God willing, Dave Smith will be on the biggest platforms on Earth, spitting the fucking crazy fire that he always does, and we can get a bigger revolution than we ever had with Ron Paul.
Yeah, and I also want to add to that, like, 2022 is still too early, I think. Like, I think it's great that we took over the messaging now, but I think the inevitability of 2022 is the Republicans taking the House again and then doing absolutely nothing for the next year and a half.
That's a good point.
So everyone hates the Democrats right now, and they're like, even though a lot of this is still the Republicans' fault for passing everything in 2020, most of this inflation is still from Trump. In their minds, it's all Biden. So the Republicans are going to take over everything again in November, and nothing is going to get better. And then people will be like, okay, fuck it, what the hell? And then it's our perfect opportunity to be like, you know what? Both of these parties have fucked you over the last decades, but especially the last couple years. Try something else. So.
Right. So and it wasn't just. It's not just that we see Biden is in there now and he's going to get blamed for a lot of this, but the Democrats were definitely the lockdown party. So that's going to have to do with what I think is going to be this red wave, basically in 2022, because the Republicans have kind of poised themselves as we are the party that isn't the lockdown party.
Right.
Then
we're the stop the fentanyl flowing over the border party.
Then
another war that they're losing. But
Well, if they had actually stopped it, they would have saved George Floyd. So. But then what they're going to see, maybe I think, hopefully, by 2024, is that the Republicans have now been in there and they haven't fixed anything either. They haven't done shit. Everything is still bad, and now that could be the libertarian moment. Now that we have taken control of the messaging, we have maybe Dave Smith is the guy that's delivering that messaging on the largest platforms.
And Dave made that point.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Dave made that point last night that the reason the Ron Paul revolution took root was because of the economic turmoil that we were experiencing, and the libertarians were the only ones with an actual answer and an explanation as to why. And we will now, in my opinion, we will have that same opportunity, unfortunately, going into the next presidential election.
Also, forget like how awful Jo Jorgensen was as a messenger. Imagine if she had somehow become
speaker.
Just forget all of it. But imagine if somehow, imagine if somehow she had become president in 2020, and then we had all this massive inflation and everything. Like, all of this would be blamed on the libertarians.
Yeah.
That's
a really good point, man. So, if we had managed to work our way in there, we'd be fine. But you know what? Dude, Reed, you hit on something that I like, and I've used this argument, right? Saying, I live in LA, obviously, it's, hyper progressive bullshit. But the most success I've had with an argument with people is try something different. Right. And making the point that, like, with all these progressive messaging or GOP messaging and what they've done in policy matters, the simple concept of pointing out that nobody's tried everything different in politics for 70 years, 80 years, whatever it might be, it actually resonates with people more than you'd ever think. Yeah. Because it's simple. It's not something you have to think about. It's not something you have to deliver. You don't have to give them policy points or statistics. You just go, we were doing the same shit, and you see the results. They're garbage. Don't you want to try something different?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I mean, we are in an echo chamber where we hear constant critics of the Libertarian Party because they've been involved with the Libertarian Party or been around it for like decades. So they're just fucking completely fed up with it, and they're fed up with the ideas of libertarianism and libertarians in general, where almost everyone I talk to has not had that history, so they don't realize, they don't know about the bitch fuck cucks or the stupid messaging. So they just hear, oh, other party, oh, freedom, oh, other ideas, and they're open to it. Like, they want to hear it. So we're so used to these critics because they've rightly been disenfranchised over the last few decades, where most people don't know any of this shit. Like, you know, they just don't know anything about it. So it's a huge opportunity.
Yeah, that's why it's probably good that the Libertarian Party hasn't really gotten that much exposure.
Exactly.
While, like these regime
It's our saving grace.
Bitch, fuck, cuck type of people have been in power in the party, basically, so nobody really knows about that. So then if the Libertarian Party gets really big while, like, the Mises people are in power in the party, then that would become the messaging that's associated with libertarianism.
Yeah.
And it's actual libertarianism. That's the goal here.
Can you imagine if Gary Johnson and Bill Weld actually got in? How awful! I mean, I don't know what you guys thought about Gary Johnson. I still voted for him just to vote for him.
I'm still trying to figure out what Aleppo is.
In 2012, I didn't. In 2016, I couldn't do it.
And you want Trump?
I have to.
No. I wrote in Ron Paul.
Okay, that's a good way to go.
I have to fully admit that I didn't know anything about Bill Weld except for what I saw when he was with Gary Johnson, and I thought, like, wow, this guy actually knows what he's talking about.
Well,
and then
in comparison,
I just didn't realize how awful he was until later.
It's like if you're in a fuck contest with a virgin and you've had sex twice.
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
Look at this guy, not crying.
Look at this dick slinger.
Watch this. I'm going to take my pants off before coming. They were so fucking confident. And this is like talking about Joe Jorg. The joke
Toad's over here, like, trying to understand that joke. He's like, what?
He's like, I don't know. The ladies love it when the cum dribbles down the inside of your pant leg. I do a dance with it. It's called puppetry.
Well, I don't understand that, though, because I masturbate 32 times a day, basically, so I'm always shooting blanks.
Okay, so this is going off the rest, but this is what it should be, because, there shouldn't be all politics. And we'll get to the diarrhea stories, but have you guys ever, when you're hungover or sick, do you not jerk off, or are you like, it's time to jerk off a lot?
I have an interesting issue with that, actually. Where
I like that you phrase it as an issue.
No, I do. I have an issue with it.
This is a very
this is poignant and it hits close to home. As someone who has drank far too much for far too many years, which I basically have stopped at this point. I drink like once a month, but I will I can't fall asleep unless if I'm hungover. I cannot fall asleep. I can't. So I end up jerking off to fall asleep, and then once I sleep, I'm good.
Dehydrated.
I can attest to this. He's stayed over at my place in Utah a couple times. Although the weird thing was, instead of just jerking himself off, he asked me to do it, and that's how the relationship got started.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Is that what you grew the beard in? He came on your cheeks too many times, so I have to hide the shame.
Yeah.
I can't just have the mustache anymore. I gotta cover these marks.
He's got a cum beard.
Because he's still with Clint, and now Clint comes in his beard, so then it's even harder to get rid of the.
Well, I can kind of lick it up all day long as it dries up.
Oh my god!
And by the way, it's a good time to promote our sponsor for the show, Cum Combs. The combs for your beard to comb out all of your cum. Ladies, we've got cum combs for women. Cumcombs.com, and use promo code LIONS for 20% off.
Well, by the way, I agree with Clint that yes, when I'm sick, I do jerk off.
But you do it all the time.
Well, yeah.
I'm jerking off right now.
Don't we all? By the way, Odie told me something mind-blowing. I don't know if I'm supposed to be telling this story, but whatever. Fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah, there's no turning back now.
Odie,
load blowing.
we were doing the Boring Podcast, which is like the comedy podcast we do. And he said it on the Boring Podcast. But I was talking to him, he's like, I haven't jerked off in 5 years. I know Dave Smith doesn't jerk off either.
What?
And I'm like, that's fine. That's fine.
No. Dave said that he doesn't watch porn anymore. He never said he doesn't.
Oh, is that what it is? He doesn't watch porn? Okay, because Odie says he doesn't jerk off.
I don't believe that.
No, wait.
Clint, what's the line about jerking off?
Which one?
How do women do it?
Oh, they jerk off. They jerk off dicks like they're unruly ferrets. It's true. Women don't know how to jerk off a dick. And I don't even blame them. They should know how. They shouldn't.
They should. If you're,
If you get with a girl and she's like a pro
Super
with it,
good
you're
at
like,
it,
oh my god, you worked at a
Well,
massage parlor.
or she was like a Christian.
That's why it's safer
just she probably just jerked off and
That's
took her
fair.
in the ass.
That's fair.
I
That's
don't
fair.
know, my
Which is a
teen-
bait and switch my wife did to me, by the way.
It's the poop hole loophole. You've seen that video, right?
No, what's the poop
No.
hole loophole?
You've never seen fuck me in the ass because I love Jesus?
Oh no! I know the loop. Oh, I thought you were going to say the bait and switch.
No.
My wife bait and switched me. I won't go into the details because she would not be happy with it.
She was like, you can only fuck me in my
She
ass till we
promised
get
me
married.
many things, and then none of these things. She's like, "Oh, we'll do that every week." And then I
Once you get
her.
married. Oh, yeah.
And then guess what? No penises in butts.
My ex used to
Not
say the same
females.
thing, but I was smart enough not to marry her, so.
Good
Now-
on you.
fucked up.
Now, the trick to getting a good hand job is actually having a really small penis, so then it's like rubbing a clit instead.
Well, see, when I do it to Clint, if I'm facing him, like I get the rhythm wrong, so what I got to do is get behind him and reach under his legs, and then it's basically like doing it to myself. So,
Does he have little balls?
well,
No.
I don't really long fingers.
I have tremendous balls.
Yeah, he's like all ball.
I'm
Yeah,
all
like-
ball. I'm an all ball guy. I'm bald with all balls.
That's not a good look. The masturbation while sick, I will just say quickly, I do it because it clears your sinuses.
Oh, that's
What?
weird.
What? That's not a thing. Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where are you coming?
Sinuses.
Are you coming in your nose? He's like, I feel better.
No, I come
Smells
out.
like alfalfa sprouts.
No, I come out of my nose. That's
Oh.
why it works so well.
Yeah,
It's like
once
when
again,
you cough milk up.
That's why he used to do the Amish beard, because it would come out his nose onto his
Yeah.
mustache. So
Well, what's that? What's the name of that maneuver where you a chick's blowing you and you like try to come like so deep?
Oh, the
in her
angry
throat,
dragon.
Up, yeah, the angry dragon.
The angry
it comes
dragon.
out her
Oh.
nose. Yeah,
I've done that before. I didn't know there was a term for it.
the angry dragon.
Jesus. Yeah, you're ready to go one. No, I'm not going to tell the story. I'll tell the diarrhea story instead.
Please.
let's hear
I
it.
can't get into it. No, so we're in Reno. I didn't say this. We're in Reno for the convention.
Yeah.
And, the night is young. We'll see what happens. But one time I came to Reno for a work trip. And I was for these air races where they race these airplanes around in like these giant, like open fields, but they're like super fast planes. Kind of like fighter planes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not like jet powered, but like biplane powered.
But they're like racing them on the ground.
No, they race them. They race them in the air.
Okay.
So I was there with this event, and we were with a client, and we're hanging out. We go for a steak dinner, and I'm having fun. And I go home, and I'm like, yeah, fucking guts. I had some diarrhea, shitting. The steak was too rare, shitting, and I'm like, but at the same time, Rico, who's been on the show a million times, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, when I go out of town, he's like, I don't mind going to strip clubs by myself. It's fun. And I'd never gone to a strip club by myself. So I'm like, God damn it, I'm here alone. I had my girlfriend at the time, it was a Chinese broad. And I'm like, I'm out of town. I got this Chinese weight around my goddamn neck. This Yi Jin pinging on my neck. So I'm like, I'm going to the strip club. I don't give a shit. So I'm crapping. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm just going to go. I've shit it all out. And I get in the taxi, and sure as fuck, halfway through the taxi, I'm like, I got to die bad. So the first day I walk in the strip club, go straight to the bathroom. It's like, what's up, bouncer? And, guy that gives you mints. And I'm like, I got a diarrhea. So I go in there. Blow out my asshole, wipe, come out, right? Get a drink, sit down, immediately like, nope, going back. This happened about 4 times.
Can we talk about the low pay for the guys that have to stand there and smell dude shits all night? Just to hand out mints? What a terrible job. Sorry.
It's awful. It's awful. But they're also extorting you. They're like, you feel
That's
bad.
true. That's
You're
true.
around.
That's
I didn't
true.
ask you to be here, guy. I don't need you.
Like, literally, I don't want you here.
It
bothers me that you exist.
Who started the concept? Has anybody ever walked out and been like, you know what I would love? A man listening to me shit that's going to give me a mint.
I know the answer to this.
What's the fucking Shark Tank pitch for that Mark Cuban bought?
the person who started the concept of the men's room attendant, I believe, is a gay guy, because you get to stand there and just look at dudes' schlongs.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, there's more to the story.
Ugh.
So, diarrhea like 8 times, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm still going to get a lap dance. I've come this far.
Wow.
So I go in.
That's commitment.
And I find, one real hot chick, and you always think they're into you, because, been a retarded. So I'm sitting there, and, she's dancing and getting down on me, and she goes, like, they'll do the thing, they get down real low, and she's, like, licking, down the belly stuff, and then she gets down, where the wang and the butthole are, and I was like, you stay out don't you come over and give me a hug? Let me stay from there. You know. And then she bit me hard as fuck on my chest. Bit me on my pec hard enough that I had a giant bite mark to explain to my girlfriend when I got home.
Whoa.
Isn't that Stripper 101?
So you didn't just say there was some
Did not
vagrant in Reno who attacked you? And
I should have.
we should have come up with
Where
something.
were you 12 years ago?
And this is why the Mises Caucus will be making sure that we criminalize sex work.
No, this is interesting.
Hell no!
By the way, just in
Legalize
case
it,
no
but
one's
criminalize
heard,
biting people.
There we go.
That was the platform plank that we successfully removed today, along with personal liberty, because it's not about that.
Yeah, this is interesting because Brian and I now, I guess, have multiple things in common. We've
That is awful. That does not speak well for me. Whatever it is, it's not
only
you don't want to.
Whatever he's about to say, you're going to be embarrassed. Go ahead.
not only, well, he's already told the story. Not only have we both had diarrhea in Reno, but we have both been bitten in the chest by a stripper.
Really? No shit. Who bit your titties? And what's the story behind it? It was just a random. Was it a tiny nibble or like a big? This chick bit me like an apple.
I was at a bachelor party in Providence, Rhode Island, and this was a particularly aggressive stripper, and I believe it was like my third lap dance of the night or some shit. I don't know. I was drunk. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just keep getting lap dances. Different girl each time.
That's how it happens.
This is what, you get later in the night, you get drunker, and like the chicks start, you think they're still hot, but they're actually uglier as the night goes on. It's some uglier, a little bit larger chick. So, I don't know. I guess to compensate for that, she was giving the more aggressive lap dance.
She's like, I know I'm ugly, but guess what? I'm also a cannibal.
Yeah. She bit my nipples and my cock.
Oh,
Sweet.
Wow. Which one felt better?
The nipple.
She bit his cock and he immediately sneezes cum on her head.
The nipple felt better.
Hey, I have a question for you guys. Since this queef will never debate me, Mr. Aaron Ross Powell says the Mises Caucus isn't libertarian, but is instead a right-wing nationalist, xenophobic, reactionary, fascist or fascism adjacent movement that they're taking over the Libertarian Party means that the LP is no longer a libertarian
Wait,
party.
we need to hear those adjectives one at a time again.
Okay, let's go.
Let's evaluate each adjective one at a time.
Here we go. It isn't libertarian, but I'll go to the actual adjectives. Here we go. Right wing.
Okay, that's not completely unfair.
I mean, it's right wing if you go
It depends on your perspective.
by the liberty versus totalitarian.
Right wing, yeah.
Yeah.
Nationalist.
That's pretty unfair.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Xenophobic, which means I don't know, something gay.
We don't like they were. By the way, if you look around,
I know what I mean.
every culture was represented there. I was actually impressed, and there were a lot of women there.
Yeah,
We had
the Mises event had
two black people and a woman at the Mises Bash. That's like pretty good for a libertarian event.
many women there, and some of them were attractive.
there
Well,
was
I
dozens
mean,
of them.
speaking, like we had Angela McArdle and Zuby and Maj.
Yeah, I took 3 pictures with people at the Mises Bash last night, and they were all with black men, actually.
And then Daniel McAdams, he lived in, I forget what country, but somewhere in Eastern Europe, so he's sort of a foreigner, So, like, to say we're xenophobic is ridiculous,
All right, next
adjective.
Keep going, adjectives.
Reactionary. I don't actually fight this one because I am definitely reacting to the lockdowns.
That's what the entire caucus is reacting to
And
the
to the-
horrible messaging of the Libertarian Party.
Reactionary isn't a very good adjective as far as, like, being a detractor, because everything's reactionary.
Reactionary assumes that you are falling away from your principles. I think I'm just embracing them harder than I ever have.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you stop
That's
me
a
from
form
killing
of being reactionary.
Stop being so reactionary, man. Why'd you stop me from killing you?
Yeah, well, like
How dare you react?
I'm reacting to the lockdowns. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think you're a fucking lunatic if you aren't. Then he says fascist / fascism adjacent.
Just
movement.
fascism adjacent.
What?
I don't. Do they even know what fascism is? Because we were literally
No, they don't.
just forced to inject ourselves. I don't know if this is going to be on somewhere where we're not allowed to say it. With a substance against our will that was completely inefficacious against the virus that we were trying to hide from. So fascism, private business, government mandating a product goes in your body. Do they know that we oppose that? And how are we fascists for opposing? I don't understand that description.
I mean, we're opposing medical fascism.
Yeah.
So how are we? We're fascist adjacent by opposing medical fascism.
By opposing actual fascism.
But fascism is when podcast with Nick Fuentes, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, next
But
one.
of course, it's Daisy Fuentes' brother, if anybody remembers her. It's an old reference, never mind.
That's it. That's actually it. Then he says that they're taking over the Libertarian Party means that the LP is no longer a Libertarian Party. To which I say, fuck your mother.
Yeah. Well, I like that you call him out. Like, come debate.
I want to.
Or tweet out. Yeah, come debate me on the show then. Don't just tweet this bullshit out. And then you're too cowardly to back it up with anything. It's fun. Yeah. Let's post some shit on Twitter. And people will like it because they don't like specific things about the Mises Caucus, which I think are all unfounded and unfair. Except for maybe that you could say that the Mises Caucus people, some of them, can rub people the wrong way.
We lack decorum.
Language.
We lack decorum.
But
we do.
What the fuck is this shit?
Does
this not lack a decorum?
That's not very decorum-y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
It's decorum adjacent.
the only good criticisms of the Mises Caucus, I think, come from other libertarians. So
Yeah.
Actually,
I'm not saying Mark Claire's right about everything.
Well, no. In the end, he's.
Can we
top.
get into that? I would like to hear your opinion on his take.
Oh boy, yeah. Let's just do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's just fucking do it, man. And he did a whole show about it, so why should I not do a show talking about it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
I think it's fair. And can I give my opening rejoinder?
But you guys give your takes. I'll give my take. And
go
and my
around the
opinion on
table, end with him.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. I like
think
that. So it'll go Clint, Reed, Toad, and then.
All right, and then I still have to do the diarrhea.
I'm gonna have to drink.
Oh yeah, we still need to
Which
hear
is
some
not as
diarrhea.
good as yours.
Some good diarrhea
It's interesting, I think.
I thought it paired with the prostitute biting your dick in your nipple. I thought you'd like shit yourself. Anyways,
No.
we'll get to that story.
She's like,
So-
I should have bitten your asshole closed.
I think the thing that I don't understand most, and maybe one of you guys can elaborate, and I'll sound like an idiot afterwards, but I don't understand this accusation that like if you're not completely autonomous, you shouldn't be spending any time in the Libertarian Party. Which to me, I've always looked at it as, well, first off, like the whole reason I'm involved with politics is because I try to keep my head down and try to become financially free and basically did everything that they're talking about. And the government still fucked with me. So like I am now seeking some level of political power, which they would say, if you're going to seek political power, only seek GOP power. Like that's the only one because it's the only legitimate one, blah, blah, blah. To which I say, obviously the GOP didn't protect me during this period. So what the fuck are we talking about? Yeah. So like I have an automatic and immediate rejoinder. Simultaneously, I don't understand their proclamation that you shouldn't be involved with politics as if we are like this only capable of one thing, you know, like as if my entire life is dedicated to this one pursuit of modifying the LP. And at the same time, I also agree with everything that they're saying. Make sure that you become more financially free. Make sure that your employment is more self-employed, more autonomous, like where you're more steady. Like, I agree with every point they're making, but why is that not just a addition to, let's see if we can get Dave Smith to be the fucking next president of the United States? Like, why can't we do both? And I don't understand it, so I don't know. I'll stop there.
Yeah,
Reed.
I agree with everything Clint said. On top of that, I will say the one thing that I thought he made a good point about was making libertarianism your identity.
Yeah,
So
sure. Yep.
I don't think this is true with just libertarianism. Like, if you are, if you're going to place your entire identity around something, make sure it's something worth placing your identity on. So if it's your family, if your family dies in a car accident and then your identity is destroyed, that was probably an investment worth making because it's a family. But if it's a political party or, bingo or horseshoes or whatever, like if that's just what you place your identity on, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment. But yeah, everything else, in my opinion, I know a lot of the post-libertarian guys, and it's not like they're the gold standard of getting your life in order before you tell other people, shots fired. I grew up going to church, and one of the things that the Bible says is take the log out of your own eye before you remove the speck from your neighbor's. And I think that's mostly true. Like, if you're going to tell other people how to live, you should sort of have your life together first. But at the same time, like, trying to be perfect before you get involved in any sort of movement is just stupid. And, people would...
It basically means that no young people can be involved.
Yeah.
Because none of them are financially free.
Right.
Well, I'd say I have a comment on that as well, but I'll wait till the end.
But yeah, I think that, it's good to have a movement to encourage people to better themselves. The idea that you have to be perfect before you become part of it is stupid, but I'll pass it to Toad.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with pretty much everything you guys are saying. Probably everything, sort of along the same lines.
Just gayer.
Yeah, I know.
I agree, but I
right.
wish you guys were naked right now.
Again, guys, our sponsor, cumcones.com.
we are naked. Well, this is a tower gangbang.
Oh, God.
Oh, we're going to
awesome.
rape you later.
Oh, shit. That's not what I was expecting.
That's the whole reason that we're doing this. This is not even recording right now.
It's not even on. Those lights you see, those are actually just stickers.
Oh, shit.
That's the NSA spying.
Now, obviously, yes, I agree with bettering yourself, but I think that's just a constant process, like, throughout your entire life. Like, there are
Right.
obviously things you can always improve, and I don't think that the things that Mark is saying are incompatible with what we're doing with the Libertarian Party at the same time. All those
Or
things
with Tower Gang. Like,
Right, all of these things, yeah, all of
We
these
definitely need to better ourselves.
yeah, all of these things can coexist.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sounds very postmodernist of you, Toad.
yeah, I just don't understand. Yeah, exactly. I have the bumper sticker. I don't know. I don't really understand why. Yeah, each like side of this, for lack of a better word, I guess, is really like saying that the other side is wrong when maybe it's fine to be doing either of those things.
I'm so glad you said that. Can I add one caveat before you hit it?
Yeah.
I love their message when it comes to improving yourself.
Right.
I love it because that's the same thing that I preach. That's probably the biggest aspect of Liberty Lockdown is that I'm talking about financial freedom and the fact that we have a differentiator that is so unusual and that we should be capitalizing on it and that we should actually be financially free because we have 1% knowledge when it comes to the Federal Reserve and the manipulation of markets and everything else. And it drives me crazy that I don't see more wealthy libertarians. So I agree with everything that they're espousing except for when it comes to you guys are all on the wrong path. You're leading young men astray, and it's dangerous.
I gotta add to that just before. So it's so ironic to think that a party is so irrelevant that you have to spend all of your time talking about said irrelevant party. Like, I mean, people know who we are, right? They think we're dumb, but people know about the Libertarian Party. They don't know about post-libertarians or about the GOP Mises Caucus or whatever. Like, they don't know about it.
Right.
So
or
to
the bitch fuck Cox.
like just ignore us and talk to your supposed audience that you have that's so much bigger than ours. Like, just forget about us. If we're so irrelevant and so stupid and wasting our time, don't fucking spend all your time talking about us.
Right.
Like, I don't understand.
Right, that is kind of hypocritical, right?
Yeah.
You're
It
saying
is.
that stuff is totally irrelevant. Then why are you
If
spending
it's
all this time?
And that we're always in an
that's
echo
excellent
chamber.
point.
Like, I've had, like on my show, I've had Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, then I've had right wingers. Like, the idea that I'm only talking to Mises Caucus libertarians, like, no, I'm talking to all sorts of different people. Like, and then you look at the post-libertarian movement, it's the same 9 people, like, all the time.
Dave, again, we're talking to Dave Smith earlier about this topic, and, Dave Smith made a very pertinent point, is that Dave Smith's audience is vast.
Sure.
He's reaching more people with his message than you could ever hope to reach with your message, of you're wasting your day, and the average people, not just libertarians, not just Mises, not just libertarians, but average people. Mm-hmm. With his message. Mm-hmm. And yet you're telling us that we're wasting our time. And my critiques of Mark's critiques. So
Marx.
a few different things is, and you guys hit on a couple of them already. Again, I agree. His critique to say that you're wasting your time and wasting your life by focusing on something outside of purely making money or making your life better internally and solidifying your base is, in my opinion, contrary to every entrepreneurial effort that people have ever made, to any dreamer, to anybody that's ever had a thought, or to presume that you're going to be wildly monetarily successful before you can go on any other endeavor in your life is simply stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm sure I'm going to get angry.
Just watch Shark Tank.
But it's true. No one would ever do anything if you had to be completely financially stable in some existing job to get the job you want.
Yeah.
You have to be the CEO of your current company to become the CEO of the company you want to run, the idea you want to pitch. It doesn't make sense. Right. And then, on top of that, it's also that, Mark, a lot of what Mark was saying was a critique of the way in which the Mises Caucus interacts with people, which I agree. I think that's a foundational critique that's fine. People can rub people the wrong way. And the Mises Caucus They can be aggressive. They're excited. They can be butthurt to
we just tell people
very
to suck our
easily.
dicks, man.
Yeah, but it's like, but
They've also been abused very severely.
And they
so like
have
I have sympathy for it.
miscategorized. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
When you've been beaten down and miscategorized and called a racist and a Nazi, you're going to respond caustically to things. You're going to get angry. And for better or for worse, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And it's a fair critique, though, to say, like, you're going to piss people off the way you guys respond to criticism. But then the problem is, then Mark also responded to criticism of himself from the Mises Caucus, which is what started this whole thing, with responding exactly how he is attacking the Mises Caucus for responding. It's like,
which, once again, just to show that I'm being even-handed, I have sympathy for. I get it.
Too.
I get it.
Some jerk off posts a picture of some tweet that he liked, which is so stupid a thing to post. And yes, it's petty and idiotic. But then to go on this attack of what people believe and what they're working towards, and the overarching problem I have with this critique is, as you guys said, you can do more than one thing. You can walk and chew bubblegum. You can have a fine.
Well, most of us
career.
can't. Toad can't. But,
I just can't walk.
Yeah, right. But
he rolls everywhere.
to presume that you have to solely focus on one thing, like you were saying, Clint, is beyond crazy. We all have a million things going on at all times. It's not just that you are going to focus on the Libertarian Party. It's not just that you're going to focus on your job. And I will say it's a fair critique when he said, if you don't have money to get to the convention, maybe you should be focusing on other things.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the caucus, the community, is been built out as something that is self-sustaining. These people are friends with each other. They're trying to grow something together.
Yeah. And the Mises Caucus was offering financial help too.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
They're offering aid. So to say that because you're asking for help to get somewhere to forward a movement you think is going to change the world, potentially, and that's the other thing, Mark, he's selling short the potential of the movement.
Yes.
At least
I think that's
see this through.
I think that's the part that hurts me the most. And then let me say I love Mark.
I love you to talk about it.
I love Mark, and I'm not trying.
I don't.
We
fucking
all
know.
love
Just kidding.
Mark except for me and his wife.
That's right, yeah.
So I'm definitely not trying to like make this all about Mark. This is more a broad-based.
But look, it's
about the
we're
art.
at the convention. It's at the forefront. I've been asked a million questions about Mark. It's good we're talking about.
Yeah. I think that, a perfect example would be like if you have kids prior to being financially free, I think that's a much graver mistake than having some involvement with the Libertarian Party.
Major shot at Josh Smith. No.
No. Well, yeah, sure. I mean, take it however you want, but I'm just saying, like, that's a fact. Because, like,
That's why Clint and I are waiting until we're financially,
Well, no, I'm actually taking...
Are you guys going to adopt Toad?
Let's hope. Yeah. I'm taking this from personal experience as someone who delayed marriage and delayed fatherhood for the pursuit of financial liberation.
He's trying to make this all sound intentional.
Right.
Yeah, right.
No, it is. It was.
Clint, guess who did the exact same
Clint,
thing?
you ugly! Get out of here!
No,
I ain't letting you come at me. Put a condom on.
I have been very fortunate to have a handful of really incredible women in my life. Many of them were definitely worth marrying, and I continued to delay it. And maybe some of that just comes from having been a product of a broken home and seeing multiple divorces. And I know we've been...
One of them was Amber Heard, and he's really glad he passed up on that. But
I disagree. I would marry her right now. I'm just kidding, Ashton. Jesus Christ. So anyways, point being that, I have done that, and I have delayed that part of my life to pursue financial freedom. And it came arguably at a detriment to the Dave Smiths of the world who are now arguing that fatherhood should be your priority. And, maybe he's right. I don't know. So I just think that statement is, it's just detached from like what many of these guys that are making this argument are existing into this day.
Yeah.
I know many of them are not financially free and they are fathers. And it's like, well, then what the fuck?
Well, that is a bigger question, right? I love Dave Smith. We all love Dave.
I don't.
Guy.
No, I'm kidding.
But to presume to tell anybody what they should prioritize in their own life. I mean, we're libertarians. You're talking individualism, living
Ron
life.
Paul. I don't know how to run the world. I don't want to know how to, or whatever is.
I don't want to tell you. I don't know how to run the world. I don't want to tell you how to run the world, whatever it might be. But, whatever we might be, your interest can be your interest. But to presume to tell people how to live their lives and what they should prioritize is an effort in ego that we should reject.
Yeah, I mean,
and we all do it. I do it on my show. Here's what I think the party should do. Here's what I think you guys should do. We all do it. But
course.
let's accept the fact that the world and the advancements that come from the world is for people doing shit that we don't see coming, that they're going to do on their own. And for us to say that there's one prescribed way to do things is fucking totalitarianism and authoritarianism, and it's what we hate.
Yeah.
So let's stop fucking doing it.
Well, I think that, I do think it's fine to...
I'm drunk. That was kind of a doofusy rant.
I think it's good to judge people, don't get me wrong.
Right, no, I do think it's... No,
let's judge 100%.
No, I
Listen to our new podcast, Judging Toad, by the way.
Right, I think it is fine to judge people, at least under certain circumstances, for sure, but I think it's also fine to, point it out or tell people if they're doing things that are, destructive or something like that. Like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that.
I think that's what's weird, though.
I don't think that's a totalitarian
They're describing
thing.
our pursuit of the takeover of the LP as destructive
Basically,
behavior,
yeah. So
which is
right.
fascinating.
Right. So
That's fascinating.
What it's like, this is basically cutting out the cancer and then criticizing us for sewing up the wound.
And I think it's inarguable that if we have a really liberty-oriented Libertarian Party, that won't help the GOP become closer to what they want to see.
Right.
And I don't understand that perspective where they're like, Phil Bishop, who I also love, it seems as if they view it as a zero-sum game where it's like, and I see it as beneficial on both fronts. If the Libertarian Party is a real threat of ripping GOP votes away, then the GOP has to listen to what we demand. And is that not exactly what you want?
Right.
So, it seems as if we can work together as opposed to being antagonistic, and I don't understand the war footing that they appear to be taking with us, whereas I look at them as allies. Because I want the GOP to be better, too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if the Libertarian Party can't win a race, its purpose is to actually be a spoiler.
Yes.
Because the whole point is,
Kurt the Libertarian's point.
both of your fucking candidates suck. Mm-hmm. So if you have a candidate that sucks on the war on drugs, but is good on some other stuff, hey, we'll vote for you if you shape up on drugs a little bit. But if you won't, fuck you. We'll make you lose this election.
Exactly.
That's what we should do.
And that's I can't remember who I was talking to the other day about this, but it was specifically that point that if you have the power of a voting bloc, here's what you have to do. And this applies local or state races, right? Not necessarily federal, but hopefully federal. But you go, look, motherfucker, you're going to vote this way on this bill, or you lose.
Exactly.
Period.
That has power, because people will be like, whoa,
We can push through drug reform, we can push through criminal reform, we can push through all sorts of fucking crazy and tax reform, but being like, you're fucking done if you don't. We're not asking everything, that thing.
Yeah, that's how you get that's how you get an important issue to the forefront. Because,
let's acknowledge that that's the reason that the GOP is decent today. Because they have come closer to libertarianism. Because of Ron Paul. Because he espoused everything that we believe in, and it was compelling to the GOP base, and it has made the GOP base far more libertarian-oriented. They're way more anti-war. They're not nearly as hawkish on drugs. They are so much better, and it's a product of libertarianism infiltrating them. So they'll use this as saying, this is an argument for being involved in the GOP. I'm saying, you guys have done what you could with what you had, which was an incredible libertarian truth teller like Ron Paul in the GOP that swayed many of the GOP voters to become better.
Yeah.
Now it's our opportunity to make a dividing line where we go, look, we're going to push GOP candidates to be fucking great.
Yes.
That's what we're going to do.
Which, by the way, so in Utah, which I'm still technically living in, I mean, there's Mike Lee, who's good on a lot of shit.
He is good on
And we're apparently running a libertarian candidate against him, and he just came out endorsing gun control. The libertarian candidate, and I blasted him on Twitter, and I was like, dude, if you're going to be a libertarian running against Mike Lee, you have to be perfect. And be like, Mike, you got to be better on war. You got to be...
Why would you even run a libertarian?
I don't know. I was against it. Dude, I was against it. So my whole point was, I was talking to the Utah Libertarian Party, and I was like, look, Mike Lee is as close as you can get to being a libertarian in the GOP.
Yeah,
we should be like, hey, Mike, can you get a little bit better on war? Like, you're pretty good, but can you get a little better? And we'll full on endorse you. Like, that's the type of shit we should be doing.
Totally.
Right.
Like, running someone against him, and especially someone who's like, it's just
Reed,
retarded.
I'm sorry. Did we look away? Did Reed get fucking rough fucked? Look at his hair. What is happening?
No,
Dude, did you see my picture with Nick? I mean, I know Nick Gillespie has like super smooth hair all the time, but I just look fucking rough. You know?
I looked away and I looked back at Reed, and he literally looks like a sorority prostitute.
You have
Sorry.
no idea how fast I am.
Reed always looks like that, but it is because he's always just been fucked by one of us.
It's true.
All right, guys. I know we said we were gonna do a half an hour.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half now.
It's almost an hour. It's 8:20. We haven't eaten dinner. And
It's
we've
only been an
drinking
hour?
Yeah.
Liquor.
Oh, I got so much more to say. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I would.
Fuck the
happily-
post-libertarians now. I'm just
I
kidding.
would happily go on another hour. This is a
Yeah.
fucking blast. But
Yeah.
we probably should
Right.
stop and eat.
Yeah. Do you want my
I've
counter
actually,
thing
I've
first?
already
Oh
talked.
yeah, we got your.
I've already DM'd with Mark. I'm gonna have him on soon and talk about some of this stuff. So
All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So
And I still love you,
All right.
Mark.
Let's hear. We look. We
So-
do I have to say it too? No, we all look. It's not. This is not an attack on Mark. But the thing is, look, if he did a whole fucking episode on this shit on this goddamn Podred network, we're on. I mean,
Yeah,
I would address, and I have
feel
not
like
done it until now. But I have to do it, and I feel like it's a good forum to do it. And
I would feel like I would be lying if I didn't bring it up because I'm on Lions of Liberty. Like, hey, got to talk about it. Because I obviously I wouldn't bring it up if I didn't respect Mark. So like, and I feel like he's probably doing it for the same reason and for the same argumentation he had that he's doing it because he loves us. Well, I am giving a rejoinder because I love him.
Exactly.
So,
Wait, this isn't Electric Liberty Land anymore. What's it called?
it's now called Mean Age Daydream.
That's so gay. But-
You're fucking gay.
yes.
Again, correct. Cometones.com, Lions of Liberty. Now, look, fuckers.
Yeah.
Electric Liberty is a great name. It was a great brand. It's a fun show.
The first time Clint and I were on it, you were fucking hammered out of your mind.
That didn't even air. That was only for people behind.
That
the
It was
for
based.
LNC.
It was based.
Good reason.
yeah, totally different from this time.
That was come on.
I think this. I don't know. I'm sober here, and I think this is a coherent episode.
No, this
Come
is
on, you've
very
had
good.
at least 3 waters, Toad.
Yeah.
Give us your diarrhea story. Come on.
Oh yeah, diarrhea.
And so this one is maybe not as interesting as Brian's, but I think it did have serious ramifications. So this happened yesterday.
Is that a literal term? Like somebody rammed?
Yeah, they rammed my asshole.
Ramifications.
Had a diarrhea fountain.
That's why this whole thing happened. No, so yesterday, it's really.
Wait, this was yesterday?
Yeah, this was yesterday.
So I don't know how it happened, but somebody came diarrhea into my ass.
So what might have really happened is that maybe one of our opponents in the party or something slipped me something into one of those meals.
It was me. I fully admit
Oh
it.
shit! Well, so yesterday was day one of the actual convention where we're actually starting to vote on things.
The lost day, we'll call it, because
Yeah,
nothing
or
happened.
Nothing happened until
We voted on voting to vote to vote.
Yes.
Vote to
whatever.
vote, and
Yeah.
then on counting the votes.
Yes,
So.
but this affected
And
this.
suspension of the rules to vote to
Yeah,
vote.
yeah, but this was related to like the one huge thing that happened that I think set the course in motion for everything. So yesterday we had like a breakfast in the morning with Tom Woods speaking, like a breakfast buffet. So I went to that and it was all this shitty like egg beater shit and the typical buffet food. All right, I don't know if that's what did it or then there was a lunch. I felt fine up through lunch. Went to the lunch with Scott Horton speaking and it was like this Italian spread, and I was like, well, I am Italian, so I'm gonna kind of go all out with this. I'm gonna have some of everything that they have here. Fucking salad,
I feel like there's your mistake.
multiple different pastas, chicken, all this different shit. And then I'm gonna get all the different desserts that they have. Tiramisu, cheesecake, cannoli. I gotta have all this shit.
I'm pretty sure I figured out where the diarrhea arose.
What?
It must have been from someone slipping him something.
Why you look like an orb?
Well, they-
He's like, it could have been the breakfast, or it could have been the 8 desserts I had for lunch. I don't know which.
So basically, but I didn't know which was best, so I had them all again.
well, so then-
What the fuck?
well, I don't
So
know.
anyway, my stomach was full, so I just started jamming them up my asshole. Like Bear Grylls does to hydrate with salt
All of a
water.
sudden, I'm shitting full cannolis. I have no idea what's happening.
Yeah, I ass, actually. No. So then, yeah, like, we get back out to the convention floor. It's a little bit after that lunch.
I'm sorry to interrupt again, but I really
shit.
hope that somehow this takes a fucking left turn we don't see, and you're like, so I'm fucking this chick.
I guarantee you that will not happen.
It was a dude. No, I'm out on the convention floor, and finally we're about to come up with like the biggest vote that we have of the day, which is a vote where we're going to change what the agenda is.
Oh, I thought it was the vote to go to lunch, the biggest one of the day.
That was bullshit, though.
That's terrible.
That even came up, yeah, that we had to vote on that. But no, this was the one actual serious vote where we wanted to vote in the Mises Caucus agenda change that would change the agenda.
Which is the gay agenda, if anyone's wondering. But.
Yes.
Which is why we're fascist adjacent.
Basically to speed up the process, to front load the the voting for the chair, all this shit like that. Like, basically, I think if we don't get this agenda through, I think we might be fucked. I don't know, but we really need to get this agenda through. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, shit, we gotta vote on this. Shit is, like, taking forever. And I'm about to, like, blow my asshole out. Like, right there, like, in the middle of the convention floor. Which would have done wonders, by the way, for the Libertarian Party's image.
It would have.
Yeah.
Bro, you would have fit right in. Don't even worry
It's
about
like that naked guy used to run around. You could be like shitting on it.
Yeah, on the live stream, yeah. I'll forever...
guy.
Hey guys, I hope shitty guy comes to convention this year.
I'll forever be, the shitting guy.
You remember that dude on the mic who just shit himself?
I would have hoped if you were talking to Mike, you would have put it to your butthole. It's like, this is happening.
So,
Boy, person of
Yeah,
privilege.
instead of it's
This
happening,
is
waving your
happening.
arms. Yeah.
this is
and he's on the mic and he's like, someone poisoned me. I had 8 desserts at lunch, but someone poisoned me to keep my vote from happening.
Nick Sarek made the cheesecake.
It's somebody else's fault. I don't know what the cause was.
So what happened was, I was able to, not shit my pants up until I was able to actually cast the vote. I was able to cast the vote. I think it was a hand-raising vote, whatever. And I'm like, I have my hand raised, and I'm basically, like, running, like, out of there as I'm voting. I'm like, yeah, there we go. I got my vote in. It's a, I think it's a yes. Or did they count? Maybe it was a count. They counted them.
I don't fucking know. We
Definitely
did,
doesn't matter.
No,
Yeah.
keep going. Yeah, what are you doing?
No. I think this was the one that changed the whole thing where Whitney, who was chairing at the time, first eyeballed the thing and said, nah, I don't see it. Because we needed a 2/3 majority on this vote to actually win.
I
This is
understand your point.
typical.
I'm saying it doesn't matter the story.
Here's the autism that comes out. Nobody gives a fuck about this. This has nothing to do with the story.
So then we had to do a standing count. So
anyway, here was the vote, guys.
So
I'll tell you
when
exactly
did
what
you
the vote
shit
was.
all over
I'm
everyone?
about to blow my asshole out, whatever. I get the vote in basically as I'm running out to go
Please
hit
tell
the
me you
bathroom.
pooped on the way.
No.
Just
pretend.
I made it to the bathroom.
Oh.
Just in time.
How is this even a story? You made it to the bathroom and shit in the toilet? That's your
What
diarrhea story?
What makes it a story? Because this vote set the whole thing in motion, and that vote won by one vote.
Oh,
did it? Wow.
Yeah, a single vote.
Okay, that's
And it was because I was able to hold my ass.
So your willingness,
Okay.
your willingness to hold in your shit saved the Libertarian Party.
So, yeah, exactly.
It saved
We
the
would-
takeover. The takeover would have been kaput without Toad.
Without a kaput.
Without Toad's asshole control.
Exactly. So you have me and my fortitude to thank for this entire
Toad's
thing.
asshole saved the Libertarian Party.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's a pretty fucking
That's a high claim to fame.
yeah,
right there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like 20 years from now, when the United States gets turned around and becomes a libertarian nation, we can all thank Toad's asshole.
That's right.
It all would have been impossible.
Perfect way to end.
Just think about the monument. All right, guys, tell everybody where they can find you, your wonderful insights.
Clint Russell at Liberty Lockpod on Twitter just broke 41,000. Get on board, you pussies.
Hey-o.
And Liberty Lockdown on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere else. Just search Liberty Lockdown. Follow me. The show is fucking doing great, and I really appreciate all the support I've received. If you want to support my work, go to libertylockdown.locals.com. Thank you.
I am the only Reed Coverdale and the only naturalist capitalist out there. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that shit. And then my show you can follow on YouTube, Odyssey, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that happy horse shit. Probably won't be, I don't know when this airs, but I'm not going to be doing too many
This airs
shows.
Wednesday next week.
Okay, so I'm not going to be doing too many shows because I'm moving to New Hampshire, but I've had Abby Martin, Ron Paul, Dan McAdams, all sorts of people. So go check it out. You'll
Dave
love it.
Smith, you may have heard of.
Dave Smith.
Never heard of them. I'm Toad at @anarcho_Toad on Twitter because I got my account back. Probably thanks to Elon Musk or something like that.
Based.
I do the Tower Power Hour podcast.
Never heard of it.
Every Wednesday, with these two
Super gay.
motherfuckers, these degenerates here, and a couple other guys, and we rotate in and out, basically, of each other's assholes.
Wait, what's this rotating out? I just.
I've only ever rotated in.
And upcoming on the show, we're going to have a June conspiracy theory month, so that's coming up.
Starting with the Holocaust.
It's starting with Crypt Daddy, crippled comedian, the legend, this Wednesday.
God, I love him
Even
so much.
I don't know what conspiracy he chose for us, though.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There
It'll
you
be
go.
awesome.
I want to also give a shout out to our guys that aren't here. Cole, he does 2.5 takes,
Fuck yeah.
and then Jose does No Way Jose,
You had to think
and
of it.
then
Top
Top
Lobster.
Lobster does toplobster.com if you want to pick up any merch for Tower Gang or any of our shows.
Worst.
Go to toplobster.com.
And Josh Smith is vice chair now. How about that?
Hey, shout out to Josh.
I waited for Top Lobster to finally give me, his classic illustrations. So disappointed. Top
Never shake?
Lobster, be better. Be better.
Oh, wow.
I endorse this message, even though I don't know what it looked like. But as long as you're telling me
I
it's
can't
better.
really remember.
That's just the Mark Claire message. So.
All right, guys, that's it.
Thank you for having us, brother.
Wrap up. Yeah, thank you all, guys.
Thank
This,
you, man.
this was fun as shit.
Hell
We
yeah.
are drunk as fuck.
Yeah, it's
And
based.
we have to go get dinner.
And everything's closed.